has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast. Into the coup de grace hour with Carver High. I'm Ferrall. So how about this? The Brewers, who I bet on today, were up 8-3 on the Cubs. It's now 8-7 going to the bottom of the ninth. And they just had runners on first and second, didn't get a run. Cubs in the bottom of the eighth had runners on first and second and didn't score when they got it back to a one-run game. So they got it to 8-7 and left two stranded. Now it's going to be the bottom of the ninth. And then I'll turn on that Giants game to watch Devers before he takes on the Red Sox this weekend. I'll watch him today against Cleveland, try to get one out of that set. Cleveland's kicked their ass twice, Mike.
Cleveland has kicked their ass twice. And now bottom third, as you just mentioned, a few other things. As far as the golf goes, Scheffler's at 15 here in the opening round at the Travelers. He's on that drivable 15th hole. It looks like he's just off the green and one. So he's going to get a chance to get this close here and maybe get another birdie.
I'm surprised it wasn't a hole-in-one because, I mean, they're driving every green on this candy-ass golf course.
And he'll get to 9 under and the lead by himself if he gets this close, which, of course,
he'll finish 40 under this week.
Yeah, he's got about a 5-footer for birdie to get to 9 under as he goes around the lake there to finish off.
You think he'll make it?
One other thing, for the first time in his career, this has never happened before, believe it or not. In fact, his first career withdrawal, we were talking during the break, I didn't bring it up.
Yep.
Something happened to Spieth early in the round. He took one pull on, I think it was either 6 or 7, and the club fell out of his hand and he fell on the ground. Then it happened again at the next hole. He had one of those, what's that, the Therma,
Stinger.
whatever it is. The Stingers, and they were, that machine that you used on your quad.
The thumper.
The thumper he was using on his neck before the ninth green. Eventually, Scotty, on the back 9, he just couldn't do it anymore. For the first time in his career, Jordan Spieth withdraws from a tournament. That's how much pain he was in. So he left on a golf cart. They took him out. He could barely get in a golf cart.
Did you hear him after the Open? He said, sometimes I got to go just have like several. I got to go have several cocktails.
Sometimes you got to go hit B-dubs, right?
You got to go unwind and hit a few pints. You know what I mean?
Hit a few pints.
Like a harp or a bass and hit it like 4 or 5 of them.
That's precisely what he did. And
Get
now
an Uber.
He's got more. He's going to need to do that while he's at a doctor probably this weekend because he's got some kind of back neck injury that he is going to be nursing. All right. Let me finish off. I did have all these other awards for you today. I know you kind of dabbled with the AL yesterday, but let me give you the other ones. NL MVP as we get through the end of June here. Oh, look, it's Ohtani.
Pete Crow.
-6, minus 600. There's the Crow. The Crow flies at 10-1.
So I hope Ohtani pitches, his arm falls off, and then he can't bat either. And then PCA gets it done, son, at a dime. Let's go.
Let's go. Cy Young's now, AL side for the Cy Young. Scooble. Wow, look at Fried. He's all the way down there now. +950 for Fried. Unbelievable. Crochet up there.
I'd like a shekel on Davy Crockett Crochet and on Fried Chicken. Shekels on both of them.
Scooble did pitch well again today for the Tigers, but maybe it gets a little bit of an asterisk because he was facing the Pirates this afternoon. So he probably gets a little bit of an asterisk in that aspect. Speaking of Skeens, he'll pitch tonight, and there he is, right there at the top of the NL Cy Young. He -3. Look at all these. Can you believe all these awards with these minus money? It's not even July yet. I mean, it's like all these awards are in the bag. I mean, it's over.
Are you kidding me? Listen, I got to tell you, I'm watching this game, and this umpire at Wrigley Field I mean, the Brewers bench is literally on fire right now on a full count pitch to Happ, and this manager's getting thrown out right now because that was the worst Strike
Murph.
3 called, looking that, honestly, bro, it was a strike, and he called it a ball and put the runner on first so that they can win this game. It was unbelievable. The entire Brewers bench, I'm surprised they're not throwing bubble gum at him from the dugout. They were cussing him out, and he didn't throw anybody out. You know why? Because he knows how bad his call sucked.
Your boy Pat Murphy got ran. They sent Pat Murphy
They
home.
didn't run him because the ump knows how bad his call was. If the call was good, he'd toss him. But he knows how bad his call was. He stood there and watched this strike 3. Right on the plate, literally up by the bottom of his knees, and he called it a ball. It was a strike all day. I don't care if I'm betting on the Brewers. It was a strike all day. All day long, that was a strike. These umps, you wonder why they're going to replace these umps with these machines. It's because they suck so bad at their jobs. They can't call balls and strikes. They can't even call people out at first or second base. They suck. They're horrible. They are terrible, these umps. They're the worst. They're like NFL refs. The geriatric NFL refs I thought could never be topped. Watch baseball all day. It won't take you long to hate them. They suck. This guy should be umping chick softball games in Pearl River. Honestly, this guy's the worst. Oh, my God, that strike. I'm going to have a stroke. I'm over here. That was the worst called third strike miss I've ever seen in my life.
Horrible.
Now he struck out Tucker with heat because he had to, because the ump's so awful and on the tank for the Cubs. Piece of Shaq. You miserable F. You stupid son of a... this guy, honestly, I would be tossed. Oh, my God, they'd have to wash me off. They'd have to spray me off with this guy if I was the manager. They'd have to put me in handcuffs. I'd attack him. I'd punch him.
AL Rookie of the Year. Here you go. As we hit late June. There he is. Jacob Wilson from the A's. Roman Anthony Caglianone, who, by the way, we talked about.
Roman Anthony's now on the board. He's been in the majors for 5 days.
2 homers for Caglianone today. 2 homers for Caglianone on his first 2 MLB. He's going to win it.
Caglianone's going to steal it. How about Jason Dominguez is on the board? Meanwhile, he's hairdryer city.
He can't even get in a lineup.
He can't even get a hit.
Play. He can't get a hit.
He can't catch either. How is he on that list? He sucks so bad. And the Christian Campbell, he got sent down today.
He got sent down today. Unreal. On the NL side of things, who's at the top of the board on the NL? Look, it's Drake Baldwin.
Who?
From the Braves. And then there's our boy Agustin Ramirez, who's a very nice
Bill
price.
Mazeroski. Give me Maz at plus 550.
I think I'm adding that Ramirez at plus 750 for the Marlins tonight against Sanchez and the Phillies, by the way. We're looking to add on some taters. That's probably going to be one that I'm going to do. I like that Ramirez.
This guy, McGill, for the Brewers, is throwing gas. He's got Suzuki up, who's over 4, 2-2 count, runner at first. I'm losing weight over here. You told me to watch this game. I was feeling healthy about 10 minutes ago.
But
look what's happened to me.
Think about all this action you would have missed.
Another missed call. Oh, my God, this ump. Oh, now the guy's going to get tossed. Oh, he's dropping F-bombs on the ump. They're dropping F. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. He's dropping F-bombs left and right in the bottom of the ninth. He's giving him the business, and the ump won't listen to him because he sucks so bad at his job.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, Milwaukee is going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Yeah, I just hit that Brewers game with the double play. Suzuki grounded into a double play to end the game. Your boy Murph giving the home plate umpire the full meal deal. Mother effer left and right. Gave him a thumb, too, like, you're the worst. And he gave him they should eject you. And he called him an MFer at least 5 times when the game was over. He didn't do it. He dropped F-bombs throughout the bottom of the ninth. 2 strike 3 calls that were dead over the plate, and he wouldn't call either one of them. And he didn't eject Murphy because he knows how bad his calls were. It had to be, because any other ump in baseball, you drop 5 F-bombs on him, you're getting tossed as sure as I'm sitting here. And then when the game was over, he just kept MFing him. I mean, they won the game. He went out to congratulate his teammates as they were all hitting him high fives. He was looking directly over at the ump, MFing him at least 5 times. I mean, it was awesome. I'm a fan of that guy now. I don't care about the Brewers at all. I cashed a ticket. But I love their fat manager with his foul mouth and giving the horrible umps the full meal deal business.
Your boy Murph getting involved. Go grab a beer out there outside the bleachers after the game, after a performance like that. All right, let's get to tonight. Here we go. The Cardinals beat the White Sox this afternoon 5-4. Now they'll play the second game of a doubleheader in about 20 minutes or so. Michael McGreevy against Mike Vassell tonight. The Cardinals are minus 165 in game 2, plus 140 for the White Sox, and an 8.5.
Plus $140 with my boy Vaseline tonight on the South Side.
Yeah, got to be Vaseline. Second game of a doubleheader in Detroit. Of course, Scooble and the Tigers shut down the Pirates in the first game. Paul Skeens goes for the Buccos in game number 2. Tyler Holton will open. Usually they throw it at Montero after him for bulk afterwards. Pirates are minus 130, plus 110 for Detroit, and a 7.5.
Give me that plus 110 with the Tigers, because I'm sure they'll win the game 1-0.
It's possible. Yeah, no, they don't score when Skeens pitches.
They just don't.
Doesn't matter. They just don't
take the money
score
and run. The Tigers never lose. They never lose, let alone to this team.
The last of 4 games between the Phillies and the Marlins down in South Beach. We've got Christopher Sanchez and Edward Cabrera tonight. Minus 145 for the Phillies, plus $120 for the Fish, and a 7.5.
Yeah. So they ended they beat them last night and ended their 5 or 6 game winning streak. I'm going back to Dirty Sanchez and the Phillies tonight.
Wow, little Sanchez and the Phillies for you this evening. Next, let's go to Atlanta. Mets and the Braves also finishing out long series. Clay Holmes and Spencer Strider tonight. Minus 145 for the Braves, plus $120 for the Mets, and an 8.5.
I'm going to go with your boy Clay Holmes and that plus $120. Mets avoid losing every game in Hot Town. Really, I think Holmes has been great. And Strider, I mean, he's got good stuff. No denying that. But every time he pitches, they bunk out on him too.
Been a wild couple days for the Orioles and the Rays in Tampa. Of course, we talked about the wild one last night. This evening, Drew Rasmussen goes for Tampa. Charlie the Fisherman Morton, who's actually been a little bit better his last few times out. Minus 145 for Tampa, plus $120 for the O's, and an 8.5.
Yeah, the Fisherman's going to get raked tonight. He's going to be stinky fish. Give me the Rays again at Steinbrenner.
We've got a couple of late night games tonight. First, the Astros and the A's again in Sacramento. Colton Gordon, the commissioner, Colton Gordon against Jacob Lopez, minus 135 for the Astros, plus $115 for the A's, and a 10.5.
Lopez sucks. Give me the commissioner and the Astros again. All they do is win. I hate them.
And finally, the Padres and the Dodgers. And there is, I guess you could say that the bad blood has really built up over the last couple days with these two. Ryan Burgett against Yamamoto tonight. Minus 255 for the Dodgers, plus 210 for the Padres, and an 8.5.
There's no way Burger's beating Yamamoto. I gotta go run line Dodgers. They're gonna win every game. They're 5-1 against them this year. Make it 6-1. They never lose. Free beer for the ice agents out in the parking lot. They're not allowed in the stadium. I don't even think they let them in the parking lot. Somebody run a bag of them. Like, can you keep them? Like, you get one of them holsters like at Wendy's where they put like 4 drinks in it. They could have someone go down there with about 8 beers and give the ice agents some beverages, some soda. You know, get a little brew in them because they're not going to be arresting anyone tonight. Heavy illegal immigrant night at Dodger Stadium, apparently, as the ice agents wanted to raid the game. There's nothing they won't stop at. Your boy Trump, he's going after everyone, even Dodger fans now he's after.
Dodger fans going after tonight. The Dodgers, of course, said no, you can't come in. Can't use the parking lot. We got a game here later. How about some long balls quickly for tonight?
Taters.
Here we go. A little 5-pack on a lighter night. Now, Schwarber doesn't make my card very often because his price is never really in line with what I like. But guess what? Tonight it does. Plus 340 for a Schwarbaum in Miami against Cabrera. He's got one against him in his career. I'm in. Plus 340. How about Manny Machado tonight? 2 for 6 with 2 homers off of Yamamoto in his career. Let's make it 3. Plus 340 for him. Brandon Lau, I love taking at home, especially when you have a righty like Charlie Morton on the mound. Plus 430 for Lau. Brandon Nimmo, 8 for 16. Let me get this right here, Sky. Look at it. Look at these numbers he's got. 8 for 16 with 2 homers off of Spencer Strider. Plus 520 for Nimmo. And late night, balls have been flying out with Astros and the A's. Give me Isaac Paredes. Too big a price for him. Plus 540 with a lefty on the mound. Let's go.
Mafia checking in with the line of the day so far. All drinks at Dodger Stadium tonight will be warm because there will be no ice.
Ooh.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Astros right now have awoken. Maybe they are the best team out in the West because a rooting interest for me, Tom, always the Mariners. Hey, they're finally getting the hitting back, but now that's starting to slide.
We can make a case for the Rangers. They shore up some things. A team that the Rangers, you and I were both very high on coming into the season. They make a shot for the wild card. But I do think it's going to be a two-team race between the Astros and the Mariners, and that's really about it.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Always crucial to get in Pain Day skinny on Coast to Coast.
It is always crucial to get in Pain Day skinny. Scheffler needs a birdie to shoot 59 at the Travelers.
Whoa.
But I don't think unless he chips in, he's not going to get it. His approach on 17 went over, he took a couple bounces and rolled off the back of the green. So his third shot there is off the green. He's going to have to get it close for par in that spot. All right, Pain Day skinny. Let's go. Travis Kelce, of course, the Chiefs this week are doing their mandatory mini camp. And all the talk when the season ended and they got trounced in the Super Bowl was, what's going to happen with Kelce? Is he going to keep playing? Well, he is back for another year. And don't let any of the people fool you, Scotty. He's very focused on playing football this year.
I mean, I love football. I don't think I really thought about it that much. My friends and family and the team and the guys and women in this building. I love coming into work every single day. It wasn't a very tough one for me. I know, I'm getting older, but at the same time, I still feel like I got a lot that I can prove in this league. And with that being said, man, it really wasn't that hard of a decision for me.
Well, there you go. And now he's already started leaking that he might play another year after that.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it, honestly. I do think it's sooner rather than later because he's actually, it seems like, and good for him, God bless him, he has found some pretty good long-term relationship with the pop star. It wasn't just doesn't seem like it's just been a flash in the pan thing. And he's been a couple years now, right? Good for them. God bless them. But eventually, that I think that's going to be more to focus, family life with her. Because he's got, he's lasted this long, Scotty. He's going to eventually, you're going to have to ring it up probably at some point, right?
I come from the side of the river that says he's made a ton of money so far. Now he's got to focus his efforts on getting the rest of her money.
Well, one way or the other, who knows? It's been a while. Maybe there's family life down the road for them. Giants camp now, of course. Jackson Dart has looked very good so far. Brian Dable agrees in that assessment with the Giants rookie quarterback.
Yeah, he's done excellent. He's picking up the information. He's it's really good to have Russ and Jameis and even Tommy, because Tommy's been in this system for a few years here, and he's kind of the head statesman in terms of that and all the adjustments that take place or the calls. He's fit right in with those guys. He's smart. He's aggressive with the football, which I like. And then, the true test will be once we start and there's live hitting and preseason games and things like that. But he's progressed, since he's been here to where he's not. He's made good improvement.
Yeah, and then you're not going to play him at all because you just gave all that money to Russ Wilson and famous Jameis. And I think he might have a shot to pass DeVito, Tommy Cutlets on the depth chart, but to me it'll be a miracle. If they lose every game, they got a brutal schedule. If they lose every game, if they're 0-10 or some, 2-9 or something, then I could see them putting him in because they're going to give up on Russell Wilson like the Steelers did. The Steelers, let's face it, they didn't win in December, and then they got rid of him.
See, I don't know if they can wait that long for 2-9 or anything like that. Remember, we're surprised that these two guys are even back, right? Shane and Dable. We're surprised that they're even here for another year. They've got to show Mara something this year.
Yeah, you're right.
And if it ain't looking good with Russ, and they're, I'd even say, 1-5, 1-4, 1-5, like, and they're gonna be looking at each other in their office, going, "We better start playing the kid and show we need to be around." They're developing him. I think that's going to be the focus.
You might be right.
Get out to a bad start.
We'll see what happens. I mean, obviously, we got to see the games.
We do got to see the games. C.J. Mosley retires from the NFL. 10 seasons with both the Ravens and the Jets. So Mosley finished. Apparently, there was a chance to him going back to finish his career with the Ravens, but I guess wasn't cleared medically to be able to do that. Cowboy cheerleaders receive a 400% pay raise?
They deserve it.
400%?
Yeah. I think that is the best. That is the best, I think the most deserving raise in all of sports would be to the Cowboy cheerleaders. They're a fantastic outfit, strong, incredible women. They deserve it without a doubt. I love watching them perform their act.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Have awoken. Maybe they are the best team out in the West because a rooting interest for me, Tom, always the Mariners. Hey, they're finally getting the hitting back, but now that's starting to slide.
We can make the case for the Rangers. They showed some things. A team that the Rangers, you and I were both very high on coming into the season. They make a shot for the wild card. But I do think it's going to be a two-team race between the Astros and the Mariners, and that's really about it.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
So now you're going to tell me some more news about a team in Boston. Just what I need on a Thursday.
Yeah, I guess this was we got this at a little leftover from yesterday. Despite a few rough years, the Patriots still hold the best regular season record over the last 25 years in the NFL. You see, even a couple bad years for them, Scotty. Look at that. There they are, 270 and 134. But the Steelers,
look at them,
number 2, and then the Packers, Ravens, and Eagles. But the Patriots still with the most wins since 2000.
Steelers in the top 5 there at 2 over the last 25 years. All they do is win regular season games, and lately, bottom line is all they do is lose playoff games.
Yes, that is precisely all that they do. All right, there's your pain day for you. How about the hockey? I wasn't with you yesterday, obviously, to talk about the Panthers winning the Cup. Another just unbelievable performance out of them.
I puck-lined it, made all kinds of money.
Puck-line, no problem, no sweat. They were, now that you can look at like the entire thing with it being done, like they were a machine. I mean, they scored 2 or more goals in every first period in the Stanley Cup final. Every game they scored 2 or more goals.
They killed him.
And deserving as well for Bennett to win the Conn Smythe, I thought. The vote was close, though, with him and Marchand. But Bennett did end up winning that award. Now it is time for the offseason, though. Lots of questions, including some with the Oilers, which I'll get to in a moment. The Devils traded Eric Haula to Nashville for a 4th-round pick. Of course, the NHL draft first round is next Friday night, where the Islanders have the first pick in that draft. Dallas signs Matt Duchene to a 4-year, $18 million extension. Now, I saw McDavid today talk, and I'll probably have this for you tomorrow because it was pretty telling. He's only got 1 year left on his deal in Edmonton. He's eligible to be a UFA after next season. I can't imagine him leaving Edmonton, Scotty, but listening to him today, he started rolling out I know I got some unfinished business here. Got to see what's best for me and my family. Started saying things like that, which you probably didn't want to hear if you're an Oiler fan.
I got to be honest with you. If I were him, Gretzky got traded. But if I were him, I'd go to Los Angeles. Just get out of there. I don't see what the point is anymore. He's already given them everything he can. He's swung twice and missed at the Cup in the finals. I don't think they're just going to keep going back to the Stanley Cup finals every year. I don't think they're going next year. And the year after that, he's unrestricted. At the end of next season, he's unrestricted. And why in God's name would you not look around and see who wants to give you the most money? And I guarantee you it won't be them. They don't spend that kind of money. I mean, I know they're never going to want to lose him. I get that. They're never going to want to lose him. But there are teams that can pay him more money. Without a doubt. There are teams that can afford him and can pay him more money than the Edmonton Oilers. I truly believe that. I do not believe that the Oilers are the highest spending team in the league. That's not the way they run it.
Nope. And look, and they've given Draisaitl a decent amount of money already. So they've already gone and done that. I know they don't want to trade him, but if he's kind of non-committal, you got to consider it, right? Like, that's not the kind of guy that you can lose for nothing.
They could clean up if they traded him. Clean up. Then they'd finally win the Cup.
It's interesting. It's not as far. I know a lot of people thought it was a little far-fetched right after they lost the other night to start talking about it, but when you actually do think, it's not completely out of the realm, especially after listening to him today. Nick Bonino retires from the NHL after 15 seasons. He won 2 cups with the Penguins, if you remember. Those back-to-back teams Bonino was on. And he'll be spending more time in Pittsburgh because he's joining the coaching staff of the new coach, Muse. So you get more Bonino in Pittsburgh, Scotty, on the staff. They need tough guys.
Well, I mean, the guy won back-to-back against the Sharks and Predators, so he knows how to win. He knows how to play. He knows how they used to play in Pittsburgh, the way they won cups. which I think will help Muse significantly. He needs more of that. He's still got Crosby. Obviously, Malkin, they're saying it's his last year. Letang's got all kinds of issues as far as I'm concerned. But I think the more people that have been around those 3 cups, and Bonino being one of them, 2 of the 3, I think it helps them.
It does help them indeed. There you go with the hockey for today. We've been talking a lot about the Travelers. Of course, round number 1 going on. I actually was a little surprised. I turned the coverage on this morning when I was up because, on Thursdays, that's, you got to throw it on, see how the early first-round leaders are doing. And I saw Adam Schefter on my television following around Rory and Keegan Bradley in one of the morning pairings. I guess Adam moonlighting here at the golf this week, getting away from the NFL for a couple days. I think you should stick to football, from what I heard.
Who's carrying the golf?
Well, it was on, in the morning, ESPN Plus has, the PGA Tour Live is what they call it. So until Golf Channel gives you the coverage at 3 o'clock or 4, whenever they come on, ESPN Plus has that PGA Tour Live. So it's run by the PGA. Right. It's run by the PGA people, but it's obviously simulcast on ESPN Plus. So he was a part of that. God bless. He had a fun time. The next 10 U.S. Opens, you had sent this to me, of course, after being at Oakmont. Shinnecock next year. Go out to Southampton next June and hang out at the U.S. Open. Shinnecock, Pebble, Wingfoot, Pinehurst, Marion, Riviera, Pebble, Oakmont, Oakland Hills, and Pinehurst. So what they've done now is there's 3 courses that are now anchor U.S. Open sites. That's Oakmont, Pinehurst, and Pebble Beach. You're going to see them weaved in a lot more, Scotty, over the next 15, 20 years.
Good, because I liked watching him get crippled by Oakmont and having one guy under par, and he got there with a 64-foot putt. Otherwise, he would have been even par too. No one but him went under, and that is what makes that golf course the monster that it is. It's the hardest golf course in the country.
It certainly is. Of course, the PGA also introduced their new CEO, Brian Rolap, this week up in Cromwell. Here he is. Here's our first look at Brian. Now, he's going to start taking over later this summer. The impact Tiger has while not playing. They love talking about Tiger, these people, even though he never plays.
Well, in my limited experience here, that's been both through the process and through the board discussion we've had this week. I think I would classify Tiger's influence as significant. He works hard. He's smart. He's dedicated. I mean, I would say that about Tiger and all these player representatives and other board members. They work really hard, and they care a lot. And I think the amount of time and work they're putting into this and rethinking this has been very impressive to me. And I think I would point out Tiger specifically. He certainly cares about the game. I won't speak for him. He can speak for himself. But from what I've seen is the amount of time and dedication and work he's putting into this is he's driving, doing this for his not his legacy, but necessarily if he's doing it for the benefit of the next generation of players. And that comes through significantly.
About everybody else. It's about everybody else, I'm sure. It's always about Tiger.
And kissing the right asses on his first press in golf.
Brian knows who to highlight at his first press conference. Got to get Tiger's name. Tiger doesn't play anymore, but we got to make sure that we bring up Tiger. We got to plant
our lips right in the dab middle of his butt cheeks.
Right there is where they have to put it. Brian Rolap will get started later this year. Congrats to him. Unbelievable.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Astros right now have awoken. Maybe they are the best team out in the West because a rooting interest for me, Tom, always the Mariners. Hey, they're finally getting the heading back, but now that's starting to slide.
We can make the case for the Rangers. They shore up some things. A team that the Rangers, you and I were both very high on coming into the season. They make a shot for the wild card. But I do think it's going to be a two-team race between the Astros and the Mariners, and that's really about it.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Always good to see my pal Arash Markazi from the Sporting Tribune, the founder and CEO. Also, you can follow him on X at Arash Markazi, ArashMarkazi. For those that don't know Arash, he's been on the show forever, contributing from Los Angeles, everything that goes on the West Side. So let's start with this, Arash. Good to see you. Before Walter bought the Dodgers, he already owned a piece of the Dodgers. Before it was Bus was the majority at 66%. Can you break down the other pieces and owners of the the Lakers before this Dodger owner bought them, and then now how is it staked out?
So 4 years ago, Mark Walter and his group bought 27%. That percentage came from AEG, as you well know, Scott. They own Crypto.com Arena, the Kings, the Galaxy, that whole thing. With that 27% came first right of refusal if the Buss family did want to sell the team. We're kind of getting into a point here where the regional sports network model is dead. So basically, Mark Walter said, hey, listen, we'd like to buy the majority of the team. They went through the Buss family. To your point, they owned 66%. They bought 49% of the team from them at a $10 billion valuation. The other 7%, 4.5% is for Patrick Soon-Shiong, who owns the Los Angeles Times, and Ded Roski. He owns 2.5%. But basically, Mark Walters and his group now own between 75 to 76% of this team.
It's crazy. Do you believe, because, I've been there many times, and it's not only that, he owns that Health Sports Park. He owns the LA Live, which I've partied at and eaten at and drank at and done everything at, like at the Super Bowl. Partying there was crazy. The Galaxy, as you mentioned. And then do you believe that because Anschutz is so old now that he's going to sell all of that to Walter as well very soon? Do you expect that to happen?
I think it's in play because of this. They had been talking, Scotty. This was back in 2013, so this was some time ago, that they were on the verge of a deal that he would have bought the whole kit and caboodle, as you mentioned, the LA Live, Dignity Health, the Kings and the Galaxy, whatnot, for $7 billion. I mean, you would have to probably 2x that at this point, probably $14 billion. But when you're 80 6 years old, like Philip Anschutz is, you may be looking to move on. So this group, they got, when I say a ton of money, it's the kind of money that you've not seen before. They're backed by a lot of other like outside groups as well. They own Chelsea, the football club.
Right.
So, yeah, I really think that they would be in play. And then at that point, Scott, you're looking at one group that would own the Lakers, the Dodgers, the Kings, the Galaxy, the Sparks, and all that stuff.
They own everything. And then
Everything.
he even owns the new Cadillac Formula One team, which is insane. And it doesn't stop there. How much did you know of him through all these World Series and division titles that he was the main man of all those kind of the conglomerate that is the ownership group of the Dodgers? He's the head guy, but there's a bunch of them.
There is, but it's a good point. He is the head guy. He personally owns the biggest stake in the Dodgers at, I think it's close to 27%. But you're right. There's a 10-person group that owns the Dodgers. You go down that group of Peter Guber and Magic Johnson and whatnot. But Mark Walter was the guy. He doesn't do a lot of media. He doesn't do a lot of press. I talked to him very briefly when the team was in Tokyo to begin the season. He's the money. And that's why this transaction was so seamless. I mean, there's a lot of people in place that work for the Lakers and now work for the Dodgers, whether it's Magic Johnson or Lon Rosen. And so that's why this was a seamless transition. And that's why Jeannie Buss will be in charge for the next few years. They have no problem with that. They just wanted to own the Lakers. They now own the two most popular teams in Los Angeles, and it's not particularly close. And there's a big gap, and you can kind of debate who's number three. The top two are the Dodgers and the Lakers, and Mark Walter now owns those two teams.
This guy is now the most powerful owner in sports, all of sports.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about two storied franchises, again, when people heard of the $10 billion valuation, Scott, as you well know, there's professional sports teams, and then there's the Cowboys and the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Lakers. I mean, these are different brands. These are worldwide brands. These are brands that will only continue to go up in value. And you only need to look at this, Scott. When they bought their 27% only 4 years ago, they bought it at a $5 billion valuation. This now is a $10 billion valuation team in just 4 years. So if you're looking to invest your money, they realize professional sports is where you got to go.
I got 1 minute, respectfully. Yep. I thought Jeannie at 63, if she waited 10 more years, it would have been worth $20 billion. I don't believe she'll go longer than, I said the cap was 5 years on her running the team. At some point, this guy's going to be going to these meetings as the governor.
Yeah.
He owns everything.
No, you're 100% right. So they will be respectful to her, but this is a little bit like Mark Cuban. I think everyone's saying the right things right now, Scott. But at the end of the day, she no longer owns the team. So if they're struggling, if they're not playing well or whatnot, you will see Mark Walter take control, and they will respectfully, they will do it respectfully, but tell Jeannie, thank you, but you are no longer needed here.
That's what happens to all of them in business or otherwise. Eventually, they say, yeah, we're going to let him remain as CEO until they give him the golden parachute and throw him out the window. Real fast, 5 seconds. They're not going to change crypto because they just spent a ton of money on it, right? The arena.
Scott, they got at least there until 2040, 2041, so they are there long term.
Arash, I love you. It's always good to see you. Thanks for all the skinny on the Lakers sale, my man.
Yep.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Astros right now have awoken. Maybe they are the best team out in the West because a rooting interest for me, Tom, always the Mariners. Hey, they're finally getting to heading back, but now that's starting to slide.
We can make the case for the Rangers. They shore up some things. A team that the Rangers, you and I were both very high on coming into the season. They make a shot for the wild card. But I do think it's going to be a two-team race between the Astros and the Mariners, and that's really about it.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Few news quickly here coming across the desk that the ICE agents are saying that was not us at Dodger Stadium. We had nothing to do with anything at Dodger Stadium. So whoever's trying to pose as ICE agents, it was not them. That is being reported now by several locations, including the LA Times. So that story is false. Everyone loves leftovers, however, which is more important than anything else.
Certainly is. All right. The college football playoff will require player availability and injury reports for all teams starting with this year's playoff. So, of course, this has become a problem in college football. Guys get injured. I think there's only, maybe the SEC does it. There's very few conferences that give you any sort of an injury report. Now the college football playoff, if you make it, you're going to be required to give some player availability reports, which I like because we all bet on the college football playoff, and we should know who's playing and who's not when they walk on the field for the first time. Coastal Carolina beat Louisville last night. They will reach the College World Series championship. They have won 26 straight games. That is the longest winning streak ever entering the national championship. Game 1 is Saturday, and despite all those wins, Scotty, LSU's minus 192 favorite to beat them in the College World Series.
Wow. So what is the number on the Chanticleers? Because I'll take them.
Plus 154 I've got right now to win the whole thing. Plus 154.
Why not? How about 27 and 28? They sweep them.
Sweep them. Get them right out from under the rug. The Premier League schedule has been announced. It'll kick off Friday, August the 15th. And, of course, the defending champ usually opens. Liverpool will against Bournemouth on that day. The opening weekend does feature Arsenal against Man United to kick things off on the opening weekend. Good to see. The FIFA the Club World Cup, of course, is going on. You talked about Miami winning before. We have 2 games tonight, if you're interested. Seattle Sounders of the MLS against Atletico Madrid. And then PSG is playing tonight. That's at 9 o'clock against Botafogo tonight.
Good luck.
Those were all the games today. Of course, 2 have taken place, and we have 2 more in the night session. PSG and Atletico getting going this evening. Zach Edey's having a bad day. Charged with reckless driving for going just over a Hyundai. 101. I guess he was hanging out back at home in Indiana. And he went 101, Zach Edey. So not a good scene for him.
Who doesn't?
You and Gabe also referenced that Adrian Peterson throwdown video at a poker room in Houston, which, yes, we spotted SportsGrid on the TVs in the Adrian Peterson throwdown video. So
the grid is everywhere.
You gotta get on the grid. Those guys were.
It's unavoidable.
Playing
300
cards.
million plus homes. It's unavoidable. Businesses. It's everywhere. Airports, bars, prisons.
AP getting involved. And I did see that video of the Pope.
I can't believe you didn't show it. Disappointing.
Getting in on the White Sox chant out there, driving around his car. Getting a White Sox chant. He's the biggest, obviously, no question, the biggest White Sox fan in the world. And he might actually be the only White Sox fan.
How about him in the Pope-mobile going along with the chants? He's like, he was getting into it. I like it. Ferrall finish. A record-setting extreme heat wave coming to New York City through the middle of next week, and the mayoral primary voting begins. I just want the mayoral commercials to end. They're driving me nuts. Father and son dead after robbing a bank in Connecticut. They had a 6-hour standoff before the Popo shot them both in the head. Longtime DEA informant charged in an alleged scheme to extort high-level cocaine traffickers. That sounds like a movie. Furious passenger calls in a bomb threat to Spirit Airlines after he showed up late for his flight and getting barred from the flight. They closed the door. He wasn't having it, so he walked around the corner and called in a bomb threat. Nice idea, numbnuts. Suburban New Jersey couple confesses that their strip club was a hotbed of prostitution. Fantastic. I didn't know local people were running strip clubs out of their garage and such. Front Office Sports today, then GTD, then In Game Live, and then Sports Rage. On radio, it's Carver and Lisi at 8. Get my app, search Ferrall. You're going to love it. I guarantee it. It's badass. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 on Coast to Coast.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week and confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, you know Milwaukee is going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Things both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.